It's the Jef Clo Podcast Show. If you would kindly sponsor us, we'd make a lot of dough. Yes, I said dough. A deer, a female deer, cause it's the Jef Clo Podcast Show. Oh, it's Jef and Clo and Jef and Clo and Jef and Clo and Jef and Clo. And just in case you didn't remember, it's Jef and Clo. Jef and Clo.
Hey, Jeff! What is this? Number 11.
That's right. These go to 11.
Yes, sir.
Spinal Tap reference.
Yes, it was.
Love the tap.
Don't even look at it. Did you see the new one that they just did recently?
About jazz?
About jazz, yes.
Yes, I saw you post that on the Book of Face, and oddly enough, it was not far off from a comment I made about jazz in a podcast.
Oh, you did?
Just prior to that.
Really?
Yes. Where I said all you have to do is just play any note you want and wear a cool hat.
Oh, Jeff.
At which point you poo-pooed my assessment of jazz.
Rightfully.
To not offend the jazz musicians.
Yes, and so Spinal Tap, the purposeful idiots that they are,
right,
were poo-pooing jazz for almost the same reason. In a ironic, sarcastic way.
Right.
That you were doing it for real.
Well, this is a comedy show, so, I can say things that may sound mean, but they are for the sake of humor. Now, when I call you an idiot, that's just mean.
So that wasn't one of your rants then?
No, that was not a rant.
Okay. I thought you were on a jazz rant.
Nope. I just was being silly. I was in jazz band, so I understand that there is actual method to the madness. It just, to the non-jazz, I don't want to say the untrained ear, just someone who's not attuned, who's not hip to the jazz scene, they would perceive it as just being a bunch of messy notes and where's the scale?
I didn't know they let water boys into the jazz band.
Water boys?
Yeah, didn't you become water boy after you gave up your football belt?
Okay. I don't think they let water boys into any band.
No, I thought you were the water boy for the band.
No, I don't think I was ever a water boy. I was the mascot.
You would have made a good one. Oh, really? The mascot? What was your team?
We were the Hilliard-Davidson Wildcats. I was the first male mascot for our school, and well, this is kind of another story of shame.
Wait, you went to Hilliard's?
Yes, as you like to call it, the plural version. Which
I meant to say Lucky's in Hilliard, but I said Hilliard's.
Gotcha.
Anyway.
But yeah, so I had to do basically cheerleading tryouts with all the other cheerleaders. And somehow they gave me, probably just for my enthusiasm, gave me the job and had a custom suit made. And after
what were you again? What was the mascot?
A wildcat. So I was like this furry,
huh?
Jaguar, cat, lion. I don't know what it was.
Are they still wildcats there?
Yeah, in Hilliard-Davidson they are. But now Hilliard has branched out and they have like 143 high schools.
Yeah, that's how it's going around here. We were, and still are, the St. Clairsville Red Devils of St. Clairsville, Ohio, near Wheeling, West Virginia, near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Giving out all kind of shout-outs right now.
Look at all that. Goodness. Dave knows his geography.
Well, I knew where the nearest concerts were.
Okay, I gotcha.
And that was either Wheeling or Pittsburgh.
Okay. So just where you could go to drive to see your next jazz concert.
No, I wasn't into jazz at that point.
Okay.
At that point, I thought jazz, or the Steely Dan was jazz, you know.
Way off.
They're jazzy, but not jazz.
Definitely not jazz. You don't think anyone would put Steely Dan into the jazz category back when you used to be able to go to a Best Buy and buy a CD?
They had some jazzy chords and stuff, you know.
Right. It would be like when you go look at the Jef Clo album on iTunes and it just says country.
Which, as you'll see by this last song that we play tonight or today, depending on when you're listening, could be tonight, we're a little bit country.
That's right.
And a little bit rock and roll.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
That is correct. But yes, I'm going to get back. I don't want people to think that it was a shameful story just because I was a mascot or had to try out with the cheerleaders.
It gets worse.
It was because at like the first away game, I mean, I'd only been doing this for like 3 games, and my parents didn't have an opportunity to sit like on the away side, so they had to sit on like the home side. And there were some student boys from the opposing school that were using some colorful terms for me as one of the cheerleaders and commenting on what they were going to do after the game to find me and beat the crap out of me. So when I got home, my parents said, you're going to be quitting. We're not. Yeah, so...
This is a sad story. I'm going to put some sad music behind that.
It was probably made up. My dad was just probably embarrassed that his one son was the, all-star jock and his other one was a cheerleader. But, and I'm kidding.
He was embarrassed about that jock, huh?
No. I don't even know what you mean by that. But, yeah, speaking of jocks, last night... St. Louis Blues they're going to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in 49 years. I was super stoked last night. I know nobody wants to hear me talk about hockey a bunch, so I'm not going to get into it. Well, maybe the people from St. Louis want to hear me talk about St. Louis. So
yeah, because we have how many listeners in St. Louis right now?
-7, but we're working on bringing that up to 0.
I believe in us. We can do it.
So we'll get there. We'll get there. We did get a retweet from a Blues fan recently, so they're watching. They're paying attention. So don't assume. Do not assume.
That must have been one -7 kind of guy.
That's right. Well, I don't even know what that means.
Well, you said we had -7 listens.
Oh, okay. So that was the -7 man right there?
I guess.
But no, the weird thing is that the Boston Bruins are the team that they're going to play, and the Blues, when they came into the league back in like 67, I want to say.
Just say it then.
60,
you want to say it? Say it.
I did! But 68, 69, and 70, the first 3 years that they were in the league, they went to the Stanley Cup Finals, and they got swept every single time. And the last time they lost, they got swept by the Boston Bruins.
Huh.
Well...
Finally, 40-something years later, a chance for revenge.
49. But
49.
Hopefully I will have some good stories to tell, because guess what, Dave?
You're a good storyteller.
Carrie Ann and
go ahead.
we made a snap decision last night, and
you bought tickets to go see
we are
the
going
Blues.
to Boston on Monday.
Really?
To watch the first game. That is correct. Our schedules don't really work for us to go to St. Louis to see any of those games, so we are going to Boston. We're leaving Sunday. We're going to watch the game Monday night, come back Tuesday, so hopefully I've got some cool stories from the city of Boston, where I've never been before.
Do you have tickets to fly there and tickets for the game?
Oh, yeah. And it was not cheap, but...
we call people like you and Carrie Ann movers and shakers.
Movers and shakers. Yes, we are moving and shaking our way over to Boston. I don't know if I can say up. It's kind of over for me. But yeah, so that's going to be exciting. Fact is, it's been 49 years. If for some reason the Blues wait another 49 years to make it to a Stanley Cup final again, I will likely be under a decent amount of dirt. So I figure, why not take the opportunity? And hopefully it's not a once in a lifetime, but we'll see what stories I have for us.
Were you at the game 49 years ago?
I was in spirit.
Want to make sure you're not jinxing them by going.
I was just a cellular structure in my mother's body at the time.
Wow.
I don't even know how that works. That's poor science. I apologize to all the biologists out there.
Yeah, Bill Nye is kind of upset right now.
And Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't know. He's more cosmic, I think. But Bill Nye's upset. But yeah, so another thing that happened this week, Game of Thrones final episode of the series.
All I heard is that it was disappointing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it depends on who you talk to. My mom actually watches Game of Thrones, and she seemed to really like it, how it wrapped up. I personally was not a fan. Did you hear about the other boo-boo that they made?
Was it, I don't know, gum wrappers? I don't know.
No, it was another.
Take a guess.
It was another
coffee cup?
It was a bottle of water, a plastic water bottle that was seen sitting by the foot of one of the actors in the scene. I have no idea if they're going to digitally remove that.
That one didn't make the rounds like the last one did because it's kind of old hat.
Yeah, at this point.
Yeah, they're going to leave crap on the set. Yeah, big deal. It happens all the time.
Whose baby is that crawling around in the background?
Wearing an iPhone.
Yes, and a Barney onesie. I don't remember. I know they had dragons. I don't remember Barney, though.
I was hoping that they would, like we said, try to explain it away as a dragon's tooth or something. That would have been more fun than digitally removing it.
Right. I don't know if they're going to digitally remove this. I would imagine they would. You would think after the coffee cup incident that they would have maybe said, let's scrutinize the remaining 2 episodes and just make sure nothing got left behind. Because the fans clearly see it like in an instant. You would think these people who have just poured over every frame and scene of every episode, I don't know, maybe it's one of those things where you stare at something for so long, it's kind of like, you get the ear wash when you're listening to, when you're mixing stuff forever and it doesn't sound the way it should. What's the term for that? I know it's not ear wash.
Earwax.
No, it's not earwax either. I don't know. Ear fatigue? That may be something like that.
Car wash.
Car wash. At the car wash, babe. Yes.
Keep going.
No, it's it's fatigue. Something fatigue.
Ear fatigue.
Yes. I already said that. You missed it.
Okay.
That's okay.
Then after that, you said something fatigue.
No, you went to the car wash.
I'm not even paying attention to what's going on.
Okay, clearly. But yeah, like you said, a lot of people were disappointed. So I thought this was funny, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard this. But at the time of recording this podcast, Dave, people have been passing a petition around online. This has been going on for a couple weeks now I'm
afraid to hear.
Well, they've been trying to get HBO to hire new writers.
No.
To rewrite and refilm the whole final season because they're so disappointed with it. They have 1.4 million people who have signed this petition online. Like it's ever really going to happen.
I can't believe that.
People drive me crazy with this goes back to that whole social media thing we were talking about where what do you have better to do than just sit there? Do you really think they're going to remake an entire season?
As Chris Elliott's ill-fated comedy series title.
Yeah, just drag this sentence out as long as possible.
I think how to say this.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, it was called Get a Life.
Yeah.
Stop trying to live vicariously through the dragon people or whatever they're called.
Or if they, maybe we should try and get a petition started to see if we can get people to sign up to get us on, Apple Podcasts New and Noteworthy. That would be nice.
Better use of your time, people.
Maybe we can get 1.4 million people. It's just, so many people nowadays. It's just everybody's all about a cause. They're activists for things, but they don't really care. And the short attention span of people, do you remember the phenomenon that was Occupy Wall Street?
Yeah, that was a good, weekend or 2 weeks maybe?
It was actually 2 months.
Yeah, till it got cold.
Almost 2 months. Yeah, it went from September 17th of 2011 until November 15th.
A spontaneous eruption of protesters with printed signs that matched.
Camping out. And their whole complaint was that they didn't like the top 1% being so rich. So here's what they're going to do. Let's go camp out for 2 months, not work a single day, and complain that other people are making more money than us. That is brilliant logic. Brilliant logic.
There's a lot of brilliant logic going on these days.
Yeah, and it's just so forgotten. It did nothing to move the dial. But they had no agenda. They had no mouthpiece, no leader of the movement. It was just a whole bunch of people out there milling about that wanted to feel like they were a part of something, and they just proved themselves to be, as I always try for you to be with the Slow Clo Trivia Show, abject failures. And now you've got Bernie Sanders, who, oh boy, when his tax returns came out recently, that wasn't too good for old Feel the Burn there. because he, runs on this platform of sharing the wealth and a Robin Hood type society. But his tax returns that came out, they revealed that he's in the top 1%.
Oh, he's robbing the
Yes,
hood.
let's get some applause for Bernie Sanders.
Yay.
And
the problem is you really can't be happy until you earn what you have. I've seen extremely wealthy families that are so unhappy, and I've seen lower middle class families that are happy. I was in Turkey once where these kids running around playing with a stick.
And then you showed them the Turkish trots?
Yeah. They showed me. No, they are, so happy, and they're playing and laughing and running around, and, it's like,
well, yeah.
You talk to an average teenager from a wealthy family, and they just seem miserable. So,
right. Well,
stop being jealous of the rich person and just enjoy life and enjoy your work and enjoy what you do. And donate to us so we can be rich.
That's right. Donate to us.
So we can be rich.
Sign our petition to get us on Apple Podcasts New and Noteworthy. We need all the help we can get.
We know how to handle it,
That's right. Yeah, we know what to do with your money.
Yeah.
You won't get it back, but we promise we will spend it on decent things.
We'll be happy rich people.
We won't be the miserable kind. But yeah, real quick, just to point out, like, this was one of the things that drove me crazy back when Occupy Wall Street was happening was statistically current events. No, this is not current at all.
I know.
Yes.
But said facetiously.
I got you. But statistically speaking, the top 1% of the country pays 37% of the total country's taxes. The bottom 90% of the country combined only pays 31%. The bottom 50% combined only pays 4%. So it's just people don't understand that it is a kind of share the wealth thing. The richer people are paying much more money in taxes so that you don't have to.
But they're rich.
Yeah, man, that ain't cool.
They're not working hard for that.
Right. She works hard for the money. Like you were saying, where you wish people would focus more on just working. I was actually, and this probably sounds horrible and awful, but when I was even, a teenager, I'd go down to campus out at Ohio State a lot because there was a guitar shop out there. This was before, Sam Ash Guitar Center, so there was a place called the String Shop, and we would go down there all the time just to check out guitars, fiddle around on amps and pedal boards and stuff like that. And so you'd walk past a lot of people that were just sitting there leaning up against a wall with a sign or a cup or just trying to accost you for change. And I got to the point where I started carrying around blank McDonald's applications with me every time I went to campus. And every time somebody asked me for change or money, I handed them an application. Because it's like, do you realize how much time you're spending out here on the streets, that you could just go work a job and have guaranteed income?
Yeah. I remember that
panhandlers, they make a lot.
Yeah. There was a girl who was panhandling near me, right off the interstate, and had friends that owned a restaurant kind of around the corner where you couldn't see, and we would see her go and get into her Lexus and drive off at the end of the day.
Right.
So that does happen. And, I know there's some instances where people can't get a job because they don't have an address, and you need to have an address. But it seems like there's plenty of places that will take you in if you try to show any kind. I know my parents run a halfway house, or did for a long time. And, they would have to kick people out when they brought
Were they
drugs.
just not motivated to go an all-the-way house?
Yeah.
Oh, boo me.
Anyway, so, it's complicated, just like when we were talking about giggles, It's like...
Right.
It's sad that there's... I've always wished that I could do something for those situations, but but
some people are just
that I can't.
Yeah, well, it's because they don't want to help themselves.
Right,
you know.
Right.
I mean, so how much did Giggles get? Was it a month that he got, like $1,500 or something like that?
$1,200 a month.
Okay, $1,200. I mean, That's not a ton. I mean, you're not going to get an apartment and a car and all that on $1,200 a month,
you might
but it's
get
a
a
start.
really nice little one.
Something.
Like it could be a little 1-bedroom somewhere.
Right. But, that's where it just requires a little self-motivation, a little self-respect, a
little work.
Yep, a little work.
The thing that we should all be loving, because I think we're engineered to be getting things done. It's kind of our DNA.
Well, but that's changing. I mean, people are being more engineered to be,
Schmucks?
short attention span, lazy, because everything is now brought to you on a silver screen.
I meant engineered as we come out of the womb, not engineered by throwing a iPad at a 4-year-old.
Which was why I came out of the womb with a protractor and a hammer. So I was engineered to work. I was ready to go. I built my first cabinet at the age of 3 days.
You can't fool me. I know it was a puppet out of a sandwich bag.
Busted.
Hey, by the way, my mom is getting jealous that we're always talking about your mom.
All right.
Not my mom.
Okay. Let's talk about
Hi,
your mom. Hi, Mom.
Oh, I don't want to talk about her. Just say hi to her. That's all.
Oh, okay. Well, and I apologize for saying you were not motivated when all you had was a halfway house.
Yeah. Apologize to my mom.
This is just a poor Jef joke. They happen quite too often.
And hi, Dad, too. Dad's always giving me suggestions for what we should talk about. So, sorry, Dad, I can't remember any of them right now.
Well, Dave with his mnemonic tricks.
Next time, write it down for me so I can have them.
Yes, write it down. But yeah, along the topic of work, I will also something that I'm having to deal with right now, which I do not like to do, but is shop for a car for my daughter because she got in a fender bender and the car was deemed a total loss. But I make her pay for. I mean, she's 17 years old, but she pays 100% of her car payment and she pays 100% of her insurance. So we've got a fixed budget to go buy this car. So now I'm having to drive all over the city to try and find a decent car, at a certain dollar amount that you're not going to get a whole lot of great cars.
How old is your daughter?
17. You missed me saying that 17 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like last week when I said Zanesville about 12 times.
And I said, where?
Something like that.
Well, that's because you ended it with telling people to just go to Ohio. You spent the whole segment talking about Zanesville, and then you closed it up with, go to Ohio.
Yeah.
That's why. I wanted you to get that clarification.
You just listened to the last part. But anyway, it's good that you're doing that you're making her, kids have to...
I agree.
To sort of learn to be responsible
But I hate the process of car buying. I went to this lot today on my lunch because I try and do shopping online to figure out. And here's the wonderful thing about kids nowadays. My daughter would probably not care at all if I said, it's a good car, it doesn't have a steering wheel. And she'd go, does it have an auxiliary plug for my phone so I can listen to my music? Like, they don't care about CD players. They don't care about the radio. They don't care about navigation. All they care about...
Is there an app that I can steer the car with?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yes. Well, she's not getting anything like that in her budget. But, literally, I went to talk to this guy today on the lot, and I had found this car that I knew she likes that style of car, that they had one that was in our price range.
And what kind was that?
It's a Chevy Cruze. I don't really know anything about it. I'm not sure why she's all hot about the Chevy Cruze right now. They look to be, okay cars. But I go to try and find this, and it sold yesterday. So this guy comes out and starts talking to me, he's like, well, how much do you want to spend? And I tell him, I said, well, here's the ceiling, out the door. I need that out the door, tax, title, tags, all that stuff. And he points at this Honda Civic or Accord or something. He's like, we just got this yesterday. And he's like, I'd put my daughter in this. I got 2 daughters. This thing's in almost perfect condition. And then I start to walk around the car while he goes to get the key. And it's there's this piece of plastic hanging off the front. The tires are balder than me.
You can't drive around in that.
Oh yeah, and I offered him discount on shameless plugs for the tires just in case he was not interested.
Plugs.
But he comes
plugs do work on tires, don't they?
That's true. That is very true. I tried to go get a plug on my tire recently because I found a nail in it. And
should we play the shameless plugs commercial right now?
You want to play it?
It's been a long time.
It's been weeks. Let's do it.
All right, here it is right now.
Okay.
Men, are you tired of missing out on the finer things in life like modeling opportunities and hot dates simply because your head of hair has turned into a head of shame? Well, fear no more because Jef Clo and Shave Clef Technologies have partnered up to help you turn that bald frown upside down and start living your life again with shameless plugs.
Before shameless plugs, my bald spot had gotten so big that they revoked my driver's license because they said the glare off my head was a road hazard. But now I'm driving again with the wind in my hair. Thanks, Jef Clo.
Shameless plugs.
I was Googling how to tie a noose when an ad popped up on my screen for shameless plugs. They literally saved my life. Thanks, Jef Clo.
Shameless plugs.
I haven't been on a date for over 7 years because of my baldness. But after using shameless plugs, I went to the circus last week and came home with 3 phone numbers and a contract. Thanks, Jef Clo.
Shameless plugs.
Shameless plugs are an easy-to-use, over-the-counter solution to your hair loss that can be done in the privacy of your own home. Designed by scientists and engineers at Shave Clef Technologies, Shameless Plugs uses a proprietary blend of horse, rodent, and human back hair to replicate the look and feel of your natural hair. The process is virtually painless and can be done to cover even the largest bald spot in as little as 16 hours. And, using our patented scalp hook technology, your Shameless Plugs are guaranteed to remain in place even in wind gusts up to 14 miles per hour. Speaking of winds, the installation of shameless plugs is a breeze. First, slide the skull cap indicator over your head to mark location points for the scalp hooks. Next, affix the follicle bundle of your selection based on color, thickness, and straightness to each patented scalp hook. Finally, use the included proprietary scalp gun to load each assembled scalp hook and follicle bundle attachment, press the nozzle of the scalp gun to the marked location points on your head, and fire away. For a thicker, lusher head of hair, choose our Shameless Plugs Deluxe package, now with 30% more scalp hooks and follicle bundles. Before you know it, you'll be fighting off the ladies and job opportunities with a stick. But wait, there's more. If you order your Shameless Plugs in the next 24 hours and use promo code ZR49UT5RX80EIEIO, you'll get a free proprietary and patented Shave Clef Technology stick to fight off the swarms of unwanted ladies and job opportunities. Visit Jef Clo today to order and start being the best, hairiest you that you can be. Stop using shameless plugs if you experience dizziness, headaches, constipation, diarrhea, narcolepsy, insomnia, high or low blood pressure, itchy nose, runny feet, tongue discoloration, weight gain, tooth loss, fingernail bleeding, blindness, or death. Shameless Plugs is not a real product and cannot be purchased anywhere, including the Jef Clo website. You are an idiot if you even try. Find out today if shameless plugs are right for you.
Shameless plugs. And wasn't that funny?
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, we know that.
Yeah.
We designed it. We engineered it.
Do you remember how it goes? I don't even remember. I'll be plugging that in later, but I have no memory of how the shameless plugs.
We've already established you don't have a whole lot of memory for anything, so
I need the tricks. All right.
Well,
if you remember it so well, how does it go? And we'll check it with.
Well, like what do you want me?
What you just heard? Do the shameless plugs commercial go?
I don't remember. I remember there's a lot of stuff about scalp hooks. There's stuff about...
Yeah, you even wrote the commercial.
I know, and recorded it.
And sent it to me. I added a little music to it, and I'm supposed to remember.
And you added the little shameless plugs.
Yeah, that's right. This is the one where you do a whole lot of fast talking.
Right,
probably were talking twice the speed of your car salesman.
I don't think he had the capacity to talk that fast.
Okay.
Also didn't look like he
brushed
his teeth since the last time that the Blues made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. So
49 years.
Yes. But needless to say, like he's showing me the car, and I'm like, he's like, it was a 2008, and I'm like, I've been looking at 2010 and above because earlier in 2010, it's hit or miss if any of these cars have an aux cable, which is just sad that literally has to be my defining feature.
Right.
Is this little teeny tiny hole
you can
in
have
the
it
car.
Added,
I know, but that's what I told my daughter last night. Is I said, maybe we find a car that's a little cheaper and we just go get an aftermarket stereo installed. That's an option. And that is still an option, but right now I'd rather just find one installed because I'm driving around trying to find a car. I had to deal with the insurance. I had to drop it off at the shop to get it appraised. or figure out if it was totaled or not. This has been a lot of time and effort on my part, and I'm ready to just say, here's the car, and be done with it. But I asked him, how much is this? And I had already told him, here's what my price is. Like, here's the ceiling. This is what I need out the door.
$37.
It was $1,000 more than what I told him, and I'm like, no, that's too high. Why are you still talking to me about this? And it's funny. I just started thinking about Fargo because Carrie Ann had never seen that before, and we watched it over the weekend, and it's making me think of. Well, you need that True Coat, Yeah, that True Coat, it's kind of, it's the best thing for the car there.
Right.
But that's my deal now.
You're gonna really want that True Coat, believe me.
Yeah, well, I talked to my boss, and he never does this, but we can knock $100 off that True Coat.
I don't want the True Coat.
That guy got so angry.
Yeah.
Where's my checkbook? Let's get this over with. I love that movie.
Yeah, that was good.
But so basically he told me that, and I'm like, all right. I literally handed the key back to him and said, all right, thanks. So I'm going to be back at it tomorrow. You've got what? How is your youngest daughter? She's not driving yet, right?
Nope.
Or is she? Okay.
15. But we've been looking for another car for my 17-year-old.
Okay. So you've had to go through this 3 times already.
I lied. She's 18. Yes, we have.
Did any of them get in any wrecks that requires you to deal with insurance and replacing the vehicle? Or are your kids better drivers than mine?
No wrecks yet. Thank God.
Really?
Well, actually, my son hit a dog, and it ripped out the front of his. I mean, it was amazing the damage that it did to the car, and the dog got up and walked away.
Well, those are called deer. You need to educate.
It was a dog, and the owner of the dog didn't have the leash on him, and we have a leash law here in town, and somehow we didn't get our deductible covered, so it's really annoying. But they were supposed to pay everything, and they went after it, but they couldn't get it, they said, and we just were out $500 or something. Thanks a lot. But he did about $1,500 in damage. It was crazy.
Wow. Yeah, that was a good thing about this being a total loss, was that at least I didn't have to worry about out-of-pocket deductible. They just shave it off the check, and the check ended up being more than what we owed on the car. It was actually more than what we even paid for the car originally, and she's had it for a year. So,
wow, so that was a money-making gig for you, huh?
A little bit, yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, I was
just don't let the insurance company know.
No, they're the ones who wrote the check to me. They know, and they were the ones who had to pay off my loan.
They know you paid less? Oh, wow.
Yeah, they don't care. They give me the value. I straight up told them,
all right,
this is a payday.
Okay.
That's what I'm paying them for. And especially for a 16, 17-year-old girl, the rates that they charge you are ridiculous, so I better get my money's worth. But yeah, as a kid, I don't know about you. Did you get in any wrecks when you were younger?
Well, once I was driving on these back roads. I played in a band. How
old were you?
17 probably.
Okay.
And this band practiced out in Piedmont, Ohio, the middle of nowhere. And I'm driving back to St. Clairsville in the middle of the night. And
in the middle of the night.
Yeah. And I'm driving back, and my brother was saying, you really need to slow down. And I was saying, I know these roads. I've driven this 100 times, Mm-hmm. And someone had taken the 90-degree turn sign down or something. And so we're driving.
I like how you blame it on the removed sign for the guy who knows these roads inside and out.
No, but it was definitely, I was waiting for that sign to slow down.
I gotcha. You just
then
went
all of a sudden, we're turning, and it was like a swamp, which I guess is good, but the car just went flying into a swamp, and I remember I couldn't tell that it was a swamp right away, so I was like trying to, once we stopped, it was literally, there was all this high grass, and when we came to a stop, I just tried to put it in drive and go, and it wasn't going, and I was like,
well, it's because you're in a swamp.
I'm like, we're stuck on something. So I open the door and get out, and my foot goes down to about my knee, I was like, we're in trouble here.
Yeah.
So I had to have it towed out, and it was. It's weird because back in those days we didn't have cell phones, so we just started walking on this dark, lonely road. Flagged a car down who, were brave to stop with these swamp creatures coming at them because we had swamp mud on us.
You look like Swamp Thing.
Right.
You cut off your arm and you just hold it up to the sunlight to watch it grow back.
No, we didn't.
Boy, that's
do that.
an old reference.
Yeah, it is. So we, I said, can you, when you get home, because no one had cell phones, when you get home, will you call this phone number? It's my dad. Tell him where we are and come get us. So that was an experience. So that was my one wreck experience. That was a wake up call.
Yeah, my first one, and I also had to be responsible for like insurance or something. But my parents, my dad did pretty well. He was usually kind of around that time. He was getting into the executive level in healthcare, and
nice.
I had a brand new Geostorm, which were all the rage back then. And this would have been probably 1991 when I started driving, and so I had literally gotten the car because my brother had gone through like a couple used cars. They tried to get him used cars, and I think they just kept having mechanical issues. So finally they're like, well, Jeff's turning 16. They got 2 Geostorms, and they were able to trade in like this huge van they had that they didn't need anymore and get like enough of a down payment, because these Geostorms I don't think were necessarily like super expensive. They were not much bigger than a Matchbox car. And I think they were made out of tin foil, which is perfect for a 10th anniversary. But so right around the time I turned 16, they get these 2 Geostorms. So I think it was like maybe a couple weeks before I had my license that this car was already waiting for me. So after I get my license, it's maybe been 3 weeks that I've had my license. It's after school. I'm driving like 3 of my buddies home. And we're on this road that's kind of like this 90-degree left turn, and then maybe like 40 yards, and then a 90-degree right turn. And it felt like a sporty car. It was a stick shift. So I wanted to like show them like how much get up and go this car had, which was probably a 4-cylinder. It wasn't doing much. And I also was not driving long enough to understand the impact of roads shortly after it's rained under a tree canopy where there's leaves all over the road. So we make this first 90-degree kind of curve to the left, and then I've got like this 40-yard stretch with another 90-degree turn to the right, and I gun it. And then as I go to steer into this turn, the car just does not turn. It turns a little bit. I go across the road. I turn enough that I kind of slide down into this low shoulder, and we're at this really steep angle sideways, riding, parallel to the road. The front left panel of the car bashes into the back of the sign, which oddly enough, or ironically enough, was a low shoulder sign, but could only be read from the other side. Bashes into the front left panel, rips down the left side of my car, takes the mirror off, destroys every panel on the left side of my car. I managed to swerve back up onto the road and slam on my brakes face to face with a school bus that luckily was able to stop as well. Yes.
Wow.
And that was not a great experience.
I'm just shocked that a Geostorm couldn't make those 2 90-degree turns.
That geoengineering. So this kind of sets me up for... So then my parents are basically telling me, well, you're going to have to pay for the deductible or something like that because it was a lot of damage. And my mom had this little... not so great Ford Escort, used, older Ford Escort hatchback. It wasn't the hottest looking ride by any stretch of the imagination. And I said, well, if I don't pay the deductible, do you want to just keep the Storm and I'll just drive the Escort? And that was my way of just getting out of paying the deductible, which then they agreed to. So now my mom's got the Storm and I've got the Escort. So now let's flash forward to the following school year, my senior year, because I was only 17. I had literally turned 17 just a few weeks before my senior year started.
My first thought is you try to take that double turn again and you failed again, or maybe your mom tried to take that in the Geostorm again.
Nope.
Okay.
So now I'm taking someone else to school, coming up a different road.
I really just wanted to say something in the middle of all that storytelling.
That's okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Carry on. I'm
rambling. But you'll understand why I said this kind of ties into each other. I've picked up the person I'm taking to school. We're heading up the road, and I am in the escort now. And I look down at the radio, and I'm fiddling with the radio, and crash. Drove into the back of a school bus.
School bus?
Yes.
Not again. That was the one thing I was thinking, well, I should have had a school bus scenario.
Well, it gets worse because I had decided...
How many kids did you kill?
Well, I didn't kill any. I didn't hurt any.
Oh, good.
However, it took like an hour because they had to get information on every kid on the bus for insurance reasons. But here's the worst part. I decided, because I was a really good student, I got, really good grades, pretty much,
Really good driver.
Not so much. But I decided, because I knew I was a good kid, I knew I was a good student, that I was going to test the philosophy
Your parents?
You're
already testing them.
No, I was testing the idea of you only get one chance to make a first impression. So my first day of my senior year,
You didn't ask the school bus driver out on a date after
No,
while they
no.
were collecting the information from the kids.
No, at this point I had longer hair. I had my hair pulled up on the top of my head in like this samurai ponytail. I was wearing a black.
Really, any hair would be longer hair.
Well, that's true. I still had a hairline back then. I didn't need the shameless plugs. I had my fingernails painted black. This was back before like goth was a thing. I had a Metallica t-shirt on.
You started goth then, huh?
Apparently.
Cool.
I had a black stretch pants that had like these like shoelaces kind of going up the sides. Like it wasn't exposed skin. It was just kind of like this 80s, 90s.
There has to be pictures somewhere.
There probably is. There probably is. Well, I didn't really paint my fingernails that often, but I'm sitting in the car in the escort, and all these kids are just in the back window just pointing and laughing at me. I refused to get out of the car during the entire ordeal.
The kids are laughing at you for hitting the bus?
No, because I'm sitting there with my hair pulled up and black fingernails.
They're laughing.
It just looks so weird
guy.
back in like 1992.
Yeah.
And then the cop comes up, and he walks up to the front of my car to look at the damage, reaches down, picks up the grill of my car, walks back and hands it to me through the open window and says, "You might want this." Like I said, I was not getting out. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was all within just essentially like the first 13 months of my driving experiences. So you're correct. I was testing my parents.
So your kids are following in your footsteps?
Maybe. I hope not. But my mother always reminds me of the mother's curse that she placed upon me, and sometimes she feels bad that it is working too effectively. But that doesn't stop her from chuckling a bit.
Is that like the movie Holes, The Family Curse? Did you ever see that
I don't remember
movie?
Holes. Is that Kevin Bacon or something?
Nope.
I'm thinking of Tremors.
What's his name? Skyla or something like that? LaBeouf?
Shyla.
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf.
Shana.
I don't think it was Shana.
Shawshank LaBeouf.
Shawshank LaBeouf.
Shaquille LaBeouf.
Andy was a tall drink of water. That was a horrible, horrible Morgan Freeman. That's okay. That's my favorite movie, though.
So that wasn't Morgan just now? On the
no,
phone?
It wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was not Morgan.
Morgan Fairchild.
But yeah, so then I asked my mom if I didn't pay the deductible on the escort, would she want that, and I'll take the storm off her hands. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, just kept going back and forth.
I did end up getting the storm back somehow. And I think what happened was they just got rid of the escort altogether, and my mom got like some Camaro or something like that. So she upgraded, and then I just got the storm back.
So tell me, underneath the mascot trappings, did you have the black fingernail polish and all that?
No.
Goth underneath
that was before I grew my hair long and started listening to metal.
What was your favorite metal band?
I mean, back in high school, probably Metallica. I wouldn't really deem them as metal, but I was also a huge fan, ginormous fan of Alice in Chains.
Oh yeah, they had a cool sound.
Oh yeah, and I
love that harmony.
Yeah, but the whole new Alice in Chains thing drives me crazy. They've been putting out new albums without Lane Staley.
I didn't even know she got a new chain.
Oh, are you booing yourself right now? I certainly hope so.
I'm just testing what makes you laugh, because you laugh pretty easily, so I can.
Okay, well,
I can say some dumb stuff. But
that was a Jef joke,
work.
and I don't even laugh at my own Jef jokes. So if that makes you feel better, yeah. So speaking of our children, we do have Father's Day coming up, Dave. Yay for us!
Yeah,
that's in a few weeks. And I want to go ahead. Maybe we'll find a better sarcasm Father of the Year award to give away between now and Father's Day. But I want to tell you a story about a father.
Of course you do.
In Oregon. I just read this story. This father filed a police report because a man broke into the back of their house through the sliding glass door, got in a fight with the father, made off with his daughter's $740 that she had of Girl Scout cookie money that she had sold.
Oh.
And over
at
a
least he
period
didn't get the cookies.
Yes, that's right. Well, if she made $740, she probably sold all of them. That's a pretty good bank right there. But as time went on, some holes began to be poked into the father's story. And it turns out
he stole the money.
Yes, and not only I'll give you 3 guesses what he stole the money for.
Tell me not hookers.
You're not far off.
Really?
Yeah.
Strip club.
You're still pretty close. Think Robert Kraft of the Patriots.
Oh, okay. That's enough.
An erotic
said.
massage, yes.
Okay, enough said.
And here's the thing that struck me as odd. Once you get busted for stealing the $740, what idiot is going to say, I spent it on an erotic massage? Why wouldn't you just find some ridiculous... Yes, anything.
I buried it in a hole in the ground for her for later, for college.
I forget where the hole is.
But I can't remember where it was.
Yeah. It was...
Obviously...
It was somewhere in the swamps of Piedmont, Ohio.
Obviously, you and I have done this before because we know what kind of excuses we would give.
Yes, exactly. But
seriously, what? That's just so dumb.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he did something even worse, and that was like
I didn't think about that.
That was his this won't seem so bad.
There you go. I did not even consider that, Dave. That is quite insightful.
Yeah.
Well done.
That's how my brain works, yeah.
Yeah. So, Father's Day coming up. So, we'll see if we can find any more sarcasm to do Father of the Year awards between now and Father's Day. But that one was pretty bad.
Yeah.
To quote Mr. Larry David.
I love Larry David.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, do you have anything else you want to... Oh, wait, we need to, before we're done, Dave, we need to make sure we reiterate. We got shows coming up, Dave. Live gigs.
Yes, we do. We do. We need to talk about this.
August 24th. Where are we at? Let's see if you can get it right this time.
We're at Lucky and Hilliard's.
No.
We're at Lucky's in Hilliard, Ohio.
Correct.
And it's a big fundraiser for cancer benefit for the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer. And even if you live all the way, say, in San Diego or something, make your way out. It's worth it.
That's right.
But no, I played this event last year. You didn't play, but you showed up, right? Is that what happened? The band was playing a wedding, so I popped in briefly to make an appearance and try and throw some support. Yeah, and it was appreciated. And so it's a fun event. So please come out August 24th.
Mm-hmm. Lots of players will be there.
Nathan Smith puts it on. Thank you, Nathan.
That's right. Thank you, Nathan.
Good times. So I'll play a set, and then we'll have some Jef and Clo crossover into Jef with the Love Benders on August 24th. What time do I start? Something like 2 or something?
Oh, is
Noon?
it? I know the event
I
is
can't
noon to
remember.
6, but you might start at like 2. They probably do like a little buffer there, so.
It might be noon. It might be
Okay,
noon.
the event is billed as noon to 6. If you might
know,
want
I
to make
just
sure
gotta-
with your private pilot that you have
I know.
that you know what time.
I'm either getting up early and driving it if the weather's bad, or I'm
Flying.
private flying from Put-in Bay.
Why can't you fly in weather?
Bad weather, pilots, planes. I don't know. It's not.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's one of those smaller planes.
I've flown airplanes, and you're allowed to fly in the rain.
Well, not necessarily just rain. If it's like,
Well, if it's thunderstorm, that's not great, but you can get above the clouds, so
Oh, well, then
that's the goal.
I'll tell Chris to get some good instruction from Jeff on how to fly.
Yeah.
Chris Cyrus is the one who's flying me. I really appreciate it, Chris. It was a lot of fun
Miley's
last year.
cousin.
It's actually her third uncle on her mother's side,
Roommate.
which makes no sense at all. They just both happen to be named Cyrus.
I gotcha, yes.
So, no, I appreciate it, Chris. And he flew me last year, and he's got a bigger plane, which I can't wait to see. But
Nice.
it was great. Great
That's right. And then
times.
September 28th, the new gig we picked up with Mustang
Yes.
Sally and Crossfire.
Crossfire and
right.
Mustang Sally.
That's right. And at
So
the
I
Eagles
haven't
Club
heard.
in
I
Lancaster.
have not heard Crossfire yet.
Nor
but
have I.
I'm
But
looking forward to seeing them. That will be
they seem to
nice.
have a really big following.
They do, yeah. I've been impressed.
Yes.
So we'll check that out for sure, and I'm sure
Yep.
that'll be great.
And those are $25 for tickets. If you want to go buy them in advance, they're $30 at the door. Go to C Tickets, that's SEE tickets.us, and just search Mustang Sally, and you can find those tickets for Mustang Sally, well, Toby Lee and Mustang Sally, Crossfire, who's opening for them, and then the special guest, Jef Clo.
Woohoo!
Woo!
Yeah.
And we will be going on at 7 o'clock, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe 6. No, doors at 6 and us at 7, something like that.
Yeah, doors at 6, us at 7.
It's an outdoor event, so it's weird to say doors because they're really
Right.
doors. But
Well,
maybe
Maybe they'll just put a door in the middle of the,
No, they won't.
well, they should.
So, Tanya was asking me if we could sell tickets now that the hard copy tickets are in. Are you going to be able to do that, Jeff?
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
All right. So there's your answer, Tanya.
Yep. I'll arrange to figure out how to get those tickets.
Do you pronounce it Tanya or Tanya?
I would lean towards Tanya unless you know specifically that she
an-
pronounces it Tanya.
I'm going to say Tanya then.
Okay.
It has an A. Made me think Tanya.
It has
but-
2 A's,
Well,
but I see what you're saying. You're thinking not like TonyA.
right.
Okay.
Which is a thing, right?
Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, anyway.
We'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
But either way, we've referred to her both ways 15 times, so at least she's gotten enough right ones that she shouldn't be as upset about the wrong ones.
Exactly.
Yes, and I do want to ask everyone, we mentioned this in a previous podcast a few weeks ago that we posted, and I will repost this after the podcast comes out next week, the iTooth design for T-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, when I posted the picture asking for feedback and if anybody would want to order one, we stepped on it with like 2 more posts in 30 minutes, and then everybody saw those instead.
Yeah.
We got a lot of likes to the iTooth image as our profile pic, but nobody really noticed the post that I put asking for thoughts. So I'm going to repost something like that.
Okay.
If you have any interest,
Yeah.
please go comment, let us know in any way, shape, or form. And if we feel like we have a decent amount, we will get a hold of our buddy Ryan Appel down in Nashville with his company Ryan Apparel, where you can also get a Jef Clo hat and order one of your hats from jeffandclo.com. And we'll talk to him about getting this iTooth design into a reality of a T-shirt.
Yes. That would be amazing.
Yup.
I'd love to see that. I'll wear it proudly.
So will I. So will I. And one final shameless plug. We've mentioned this in the past.
Two,
We haven't.
two final.
Two?
Because I've got one too.
Okay, well, I was going to bring up I haven't said this in a while, but we are gaining listenership and traction with the podcast. If we have any local businesses that would like an affordable means to reach out to people in a target audience, we would love to have you as an advertiser or a sponsor,
Yes.
and we are willing to work with you on price right now as we are growing. So feel free to reach out to us at sales@jeffandclo.com, or if you know someone with a local business or a small business or even a big business like Budweiser, that's fine. You have them reach out to us at sales@jeffandclo.com. And what's your plug, Dave?
Okay, so I got another. It's more of an update, but I got another adjustment today with the at the chiropractor, the well something chiropractor. Anyway,
Your doctor followed us today on Facebook.
Yes, he did. I was there when he did it. He's like, "Oh,
Ben.
how do I see that?" Because he wanted to see the video of the leg kick. Yes.
Gotcha.
So, and I saw Jordan and Andrea at the front desk, and they were so excited to see me. I can't tell you how excited they were. That's a joke.
Sarcasm.
Yeah. No, they were. No, it wasn't sarcastic. They're very nice. Anyway, so I kick the leg every time. I cannot not kick my leg. I think it's a defense mechanism, you know.
Did he scratch you by your tail?
No, we didn't get to that yet. But I got to tell you,
have they listened to that yet?
I think if anyone ever tries to attack me, what's probably going to happen is I'm going to kick them. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, that's a macho response.
Because even if I don't mean to, they're going to come after me and my leg's going to go flailing into them.
If anyone ever attacks me, grabs my head and twists it 18 degrees to the right, I'm going to kick the crap out of them.
I'm going to kick them. Yeah.
Do you know if they listened to the most recent episode?
Yes, they did. They were.
Okay.
They thought it was funny.
Okay, good.
At least they acted like that.
Okay, yeah, because we got way off on a tangent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, that's good.
Unusually, because we don't usually do that.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad you are continuing to be adjusted.
Yeah, and feeling better. Yeah, I like it.
Yes. So before we wrap up, we'll send out, to not make them feel bad, one more hello to Mr. and Mrs. Clo, Mom and Dad out there.
Aww.
So we're sending them a hello on the bookend here. Hello, Klaus. It's even though it's like probably French, so it is clear.
It is. Yeah, there you go.
Yes, much better.
Perfect.
My Inspector Claire.
Claus Clo.
Claus Claire. Yeah, so what's our last song, Dave? Other than Amabilia, what's the last one that we haven't done yet?
I even looked that up earlier today. And now I can't remember.
Let Go, is that right?
Oh, we haven't done Let Go?
Nope, I think that's the last one, because I know we did Your Everything.
Okay.
So yeah, Let Go.
You're probably right.
And this one I kind of felt like, to me, has a vibe, because I was always a huge fan of Led Zeppelin, and especially a lot of their acoustic stuff that they did. So there's just, to me, this one, some of the acoustic stuff, and even the singing style, like I feel like I channeled a little Robert Plant in this. Not,
You're trying to say that this would be what Led Zeppelin would have sounded like if they were better. No.
Yes.
No, I was a huge Led Zeppelin fan, so I know how insulting that was just now.
Yes, no, that's okay. That's pretty much how I learned how to play guitar, was learning Led Zeppelin songs.
Jimmy Page.
Yeah. All right, well, we will play Let Go for everybody, and we will wrap this up and get everybody ready for episode 12. I'm excited. I'm going to be in Boston in a few days, and hopefully I have some great video or pictures or story of interesting things going on in the city of Boston to share with everybody.
Yeah, have fun with that while I'm editing the show.
Well, no.
Me.
Actually, you're going to have to edit the show. You might need to rush it by Saturday.
So you can... When do you leave?
We fly out at like 11:55 on Sunday morning. I could take my laptop with me, but I really don't want to have to do that.
Yeah, all right.
So let's just hope we did a good enough job. Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty. Well, everybody enjoy the rest of your week, and we will talk to you next Monday. Love you, Dave.
Love you too, Jeff.
Bye-bye.
another shot, another go of it. But it's just a different day and the same old. I'm letting go of you. Said we tried for a while with the same result. It ain't you, it ain't me, it's both our fault. I'm letting go of you. And I do. Yeah, I do. Get bored a little. Yeah, I do. And I do. Let go. I'm letting go of you. I ain't perfect, never said it and I never would. I ain't hating, don't say nothing if you can't say nothing good. I'm letting go of you. People think that love is everything we're living for. I used to think the same myself, but now I'm not so sure. I'm letting go of you. And I do. Yeah, I do. Get told a little. Yeah, I do. And I do. Let go. I'm letting go of you. I ain't perfect, never said it and I never would. I ain't hating, don't say nothing if you can't say nothing good. I'm letting go of you. And I do. Yeah, I do. Get told a little. Yeah, I do. And I do. Let go. I'm letting go of you. Yeah, I do. Get bored a little. And I do. Brain fart.